Hi, I'm Stewie3D, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about how to use a DualShock 3 or a DualShock 4 as a controller in Windows. Now, if like me, you're new to PC gaming, but you've got an old PlayStation 3 lying around, your chances are you'll have a DualShock 3 lying around. I also have a DualShock 4 because I have a Sony Bravia TV, and the DualShock 4 is the only controller officially supported by it. I don't own a PlayStation 4. Literally, the control pad is for the TV. Now, um, I've mentioned it in my previous streams that I'm using a PlayStation pad, and here's how I do it. So, we'll fire up the DualShock 4. As you see, it's connected. And as you see, the bottom right, I've got a little notification popping up saying it's found it. And if you look in the game controller, it's coming up, controller Xbox 360 for Windows. Now look, if I do this, wait a minute, that's not an Xbox 360 controller. Well, this clever bit of software called SCP Toolkit basically emulates an Xbox 360 controller. It tricks Windows into thinking the DualShock is a Xbox 360 controller, and it does it very well. Everything works, vibration, analog triggers, as you can see, analog, all the analog sticks work, everything works absolutely fine. That's for the DualShock 4, and here it is with the DualShock 3. The DualShock 3 now and again does pop up a small error in the bottom. All that means is it's just going to take a second or so longer to connect. Nothing to worry about. But bear with it a second. There you go. Player 2 on the Xbox on the controller there. And if I do that, as you can see, the DualShock 3 is now working. Now, as I said, I use a clever bit of software called SCP Toolkit. Now, it's a free download, and I'm going to put the link in the description below. It's from a guy called... Oh, you do get that error sometimes when they turn the DualShock 4 off. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't cause any issues. Nothing to worry about. It'll pair up again, no problems at all. I'll put this link in the description below. It's... Oddly enough, it's made by a guy called Nefarious. Now, that sounds a wee bit dodgy, doesn't it? I guess it's an attempt at irony. You know, Nefarious software, well, it's a bit odd. However, I can tell you, I've used earlier versions of SCP server, and it's absolutely perfect. It works really well. So what you're going to want is you want the SCP toolkit. Now, I'm using version 1.6 because that's his latest full release. However, version 1. In his videos, he's saying everyone to use version 1.7 beta. However, I can't get version 1.7 to work, and upon digging into it, it does look like something to do with a driver signing error. However, 1.6 works absolutely perfect, and to be honest with you, yeah, just use 1.6, it's easy enough. So, download it and you'll end up with a nice little picture of a DualShock 3. Double click that. On mine, because I've already got it installed, it gives me these options. However, when you click it, you'll end up with SCP Toolkit, a little disclaimer, you want it back and next to install. And then when you hit the next button, you'll end up with a window like this. Don't change any of the ticks, it'll install exactly what it needs, absolutely fine. And then once you're done, you're left with a screen which is a green box that says Install Driver. Now, at this point, you're going to want to connect any PlayStation controllers up you want to pair via wires, because this is basically what it does is it initializes them in the same way as plugging it into the PlayStation 3 and then unplugging it and then having it connect over wireless. Basically, you have to plug it in to initialize it the same as you would on the PlayStation. However, if you want to connect it via wire, that's all you have to do. Leave it plugged in via a wire, install the driver, job done. However, if you want to do wireless, there is one extra step. Now I'm going to unplug it here. you will want to purchase a little nano USB Bluetooth dongle. Now, the reason is for this driver to work properly over wireless, it needs to overwrite your standard Bluetooth drivers with its own. And upon doing that, you completely lose Bluetooth on that device. So if you've only got one Bluetooth device, i.e. the laptop's built-in Bluetooth, and you overwrite the driver on that, you will lose the ability to use that Bluetooth for anything else. So buy yourself a little nano Bluetooth dongle, which you can leave just plugged into the USB port. This one's a little Asus one I got from PC World. It cost me a tenner, but that's because I couldn't be asked to wait for the postman to bring me one from wherever. And there are other places online which sell these Bluetooth dongles for as little as $2.99. Yeah, you will need a separate Bluetooth dongle, or you will lose Bluetooth completely if you intend on using wireless. That said, if you're only connecting up via wires, ignore what I just said about the dongle, and yeah, use wires and it will work absolutely fine. So if you go to on that other screen, you'll see the little green install driver box. If you click that, it will bring up this menu. And then what you need to do, you choose the Bluetooth dongles to install. So my little nano one is the BCM 20702AO. You install it on there. Obviously Intel wireless Bluetooth, ignore that one because that's the laptop's internal one. You only need to install it on the dongle. Choose DualShock 3 controllers. So there you go, PlayStation 3 controller there. And DualShock 4, if I've had my DualShock 4 plugged in, it would say wireless controller on the screen there. So click all of them and then hit install. You'll see a load of notifications pop up in the bottom right corner, as you've been seeing as I've been disconnecting and reconnecting the control pads. And basically the lights on the controllers will change. So the PlayStation 4 controller will light up probably blue because that's the player 1 colour. If it lights up green, it's set as player 2, yellow I think is player 3, and red is player 4. And obviously the DualShock 3s have the player indicators anyway. So you know they're working when the player indicators light up. Now, at this point, if you are connected via wireless, you can simply unplug it and it will reconnect via wireless as if you were on the actual PlayStation. Again, you do get that little warning, but that just means it's going to take a second or so longer. And it's only the DualShock 3s that really do it, but there you go, it's connected again. But and as I said, now anytime you turn it on, just press the pair button and it works exactly like it's being paired to a PlayStation. Works absolutely fine. And as it's emulating an Xbox 360 controller, pretty much any game released in the last few years will work absolutely perfect with it. Some of the older games will work, but you'll have to manually configure the buttons. So the old Assassin's Creed 1 is one of them. It does work with a 360 pad, but you have to manually configure the buttons. So yeah, anything X input, which is X input rated, so anything that, as I said, on Windows in the last few years will work absolutely fine with it. And as you can see, I've got multiple pads. And if I press start on that one, there you go, player 1, player 2. Now there is a little glitch, only a small glitch. It's more of an annoyance more than anything. And now I'm going to see if I can trigger it. It didn't. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it don't. So if I turn the two controllers off, now you'd expect when you pair them back up, if you paired the PlayStation 3 controller up first, that would be player 1, and then the PlayStation 4 would be player 2. However, the DualShock 3 is still saying player 2, but if you notice, it's now controlling player 1. And the DualShock 4 is actually indicating as it's player 1, but it's actually controlling player 2. Very, very small, minor glitch. Nothing to worry about. It's just more of an annoyance more than anything. But it's just obviously the way, it's the way it works. You can't expect these things to be 100% perfect, but that is it basically. So if you didn't know which order you turned the pads on, it can get a bit confusing as to who's player 1 and who's player 2, just by looking at the controls alone. However, that being said, this software works absolutely fantastic. Now I'm just going to show you the task manager, because as it is emulating an Xbox controller, it does reside in your system use, and you can see it just there, SCP service, and it does use a small bit of processor and a little bit of RAM, nothing major, and it's never caused me any problems in any games. However, it's a bit of an odd one. If you're using DualShock 4s, because DualShock 4s are a much more sensitive pad and can be polled more times a second, basically it does use slightly more processor than if you're using a PlayStation 3 pad. Now I shall show you why. There's a lovely little warning about it here. Now it's set to 1000 hertz. It's like these gaming mice you can get, where you can make them extra twitch sensitive by turning the refresh rate up. But you can turn it down. I mean, if 2% of processor usage is going to absolutely kill whatever, if you're on a really low-end system, you can turn it down. But if there you go, I'll show you. If I disconnect the PlayStation 4 pad, that error pops up now and again. I don't know what it means, but it doesn't. It's not broken. It still works. As I said, if I connect it up again, it'll work absolutely fine. But now I've disconnected the PlayStation 4 pad, the PlayStation 3 pad is still connected, and I shall show you as evidenced by the control panel. And there. But yeah, the PlayStation 4 pad is now disconnected. Look at the SCP server. It uses less, but it's still connected. So yeah. As I said, it works absolutely fine. Because it does use a slight bit of processor, I've never noticed any input lag, apart from Mafia 3. Now, I don't know if it's just because it's Mafia 3, but basically, Mafia 3 will pin the CPU at 100% and the GPU at 100%. And every now and again, you will get it where you're thinking, why is the car not steering? And then you suddenly plough into a lamppost and you go flying out the windscreen and die. And you're thinking, wait a minute, I'm sure I steered away from that lamppost. However, I did turn the controller sensitivity up in Mafia 3, and it sort of solved that issue. And I've never noticed it on any other game, which also pins. I've played GTA 5, that's pinned the CPU at 100%, and I've not had that issue either. So I don't know if it's just Mafia 3 being the unoptimized heap of crap that it actually is. Otherwise, every game I've played with these controllers works absolutely perfect. No problems at all. I will put the link in the description below, but I will highly recommend that software to anyone who, like me, has bought a gaming laptop, might have some Sony pads lying around, don't want to go spend 40-50 quid on a new Xbox pad. Or like me, you prefer the Sony layout. I can't get used to the Xbox layout, so I prefer the Sony ones. So if, like me, you've got this, you prefer the Sony layout, or you've got Sony controllers, this software is a great way of saving you a buttload of cash by not having to buy new Xbox pads. So yeah, that's that. I hope this video helps you. If it does, leave a like below. If my other videos have helped you as well, then obviously don't forget to subscribe. I'll try and make some more useful content whenever I've got useful content to talk about. Thanks very much for watching, and yeah, have a good day.